Hello and welcome to Soul Conversations. I'm your host, Kerrie Waring, and today I'm joined by the lovely Laura Naomi. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
Laura is a contemporary shaman which blends the unique modalities of Zen practices, shamanic and energetic healing, space clearing, emotional and psychic counselling. And she's passionate about helping people to understand and raise their awareness of energy and the spiritual world, how it affects us, and how to harness this power to create a more harmonious lifestyle. And today we're specifically going to talk a little on space clearing. And firstly, if you could just share with us what space clearing is.
So, space clearing is clearing a space. So it means traditionally people get some sage sticks or incense and clear energy from or in a space, and a lot of it is in like a sacred space. So it could be a church or a temple, that sort of building, if you like. So, but it's become very popular in houses and businesses and other areas as well. So it's basically clearing energy from an environment.
Okay, and I know I found myself recently increasing my use of incense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's lots of clearing going on everywhere. I think there's a lot of just what that's brought up for me is that there seems to be almost like an overload of energy coming into the world, and people are really responding to that, aren't they?
Yeah, very much so. People who are very sensitive through to people who are not so sensitive. Most people can pick up on vibes or energy in some way, but yeah, people who are extremely sensitive are definitely clearing their energy and and their spaces a lot more, I think, as well.
Yeah, yeah. So why is sacred space clearing? Why is that so important to us?
Well, to have a sacred space is a clear space. So it's actually quite closely associated. Um, for example, if I get a phone call and someone says, "Oh, I need my space cleared because it feels, negative and I'm not very happy and things are happening," so I'd come in and use some sage or some space clearing mists or incense or whatever is required. And in doing that process, it actually creates a sacred space. So all the negative energy is being cleared out to create more flowing, beautiful, harmonious energy. So yeah, that's what it's about. It's creating that beautiful, flowing, gentle space for yourself and for your loved ones.
Okay, and I certainly find sometimes whether we're sensitive or not, we tend to have this natural intuition that tells us when we need that, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Some of us exactly intuitively know that, oh, I'm feeling really sluggish today, or I really need to go on a detox or a cleanse. So our body eventually tells us, yeah. If not, just again, if we're sensitive, our energy will, yeah, just feel like, yeah, I really need a cleanse. Can you please smudge me?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
definitely.
and I know over the years my kids have often just come and gone, oh, I need to move my room around, or I need to just clear it out. Like my daughter's often, like every 6 months or something, she's going through her stuff and, you know, clearing her room out of just, she likes it not to be busy, you know. Um, and so whether we realise we're space clearing or not, that's essentially what we're doing, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's kind of like it's a natural cleansing process where it's actually it's actually an ability as well. Like, you know, when some people who are in touch with energy will just naturally walk into a space and go, oh my God, this really needs to be cleaned or shaken up or changed. Or, you know, there's some people who are naturally that way inclined. So, you know, that sort of ability is more innate in them than other people. They might have something else, but yeah.
So I guess besides our intuition, how else would we know that we need to clear our spaces?
Well, again, most people that call me up are feeling out of balance. You know, there's no harmony happening in their lives. They're very chaotic emotionally. The space is cluttered, not just emotionally, energetically, but also physically as well. So it could be on all of those levels or some of those levels. It's just a feeling of feeling cluttered or very chaotic in the mind. Maybe things are just not flowing. So it's that feeling, those are feelings of lack of harmony. So most people that come to me are feeling those things.
Okay, well, it's interesting because I can imagine if you've got a home that doesn't flow, or even an office space, or any of those things where you're not feeling comfortable, and you declutter and clear all of that. And I can remember even this house that I live in now, we've been here nearly 8 years, but I can remember when I first came here, I wasn't comfortable in the laundry. It would bring up emotion for me, and it wasn't until I put a rose quartz crystal in there that it felt balanced, and I've needed to leave that rose quartz crystal in there. It's still there, so
Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting how those things can affect us, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's interesting also when you, like you were just talking about, you walk into a space and automatically you just start feeling very uncomfortable, and it's like, oh, something's not quite right here. Or you walk into another space and you immediately feel at ease, or like, oh, that just feels so beautiful. So again, a lot of the time it's an instinctive thing, and some of us are aware of it and some of us aren't. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying having this conversation, because I think more and more when we put information like this out for people to listen to and to hear, they recognize that this intuition thing, the way that they feel, it is natural, it's simple. It's, stuff that does happen for us every day.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, and to trust that.
To
Yeah.
trust that, and to recognize it and just go, okay, so it's not just me, there's a reason this is happening, or the reason I'm feeling this, and I can make simple changes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So what are some simple ways that someone can create a sacred space?
Well, it can be indoors or outdoors. So it depends on, most of the time for me, when I'm helping someone create a sacred space, I always say to them, how does it feel? If it feels really nurturing and feels really good to be in this particular area, well, that's the one, that's the space. If it's outside, just walk around until you find you can feel it. You can sit down and go, oh God, this feels really good, and it gives you energy. So you're in a particular space, or there's a space somewhere in your home that feels perfect. So you set up your space, and it's a private space. It's a sanctuary. And it's a personal space. And you can set it up in many different ways with sacred objects, or meditation cushions, hanging crystals or feathers or artwork, just to create that little sanctuary for yourself.
Yeah, and I know that's been some natural advice I've given to people over the years that are really wanting to find that time to connect with their spirit, that it can just be even just, a chair in the corner of a room, and, you put your favourite things, whether it's your journal, your crystals, little incense, some soft lighting, just, for some women, it might even be just being in the bath,
Yeah, exactly.
away from the family, But if that's what you need, so that you have that time to go into that sacred space within, because that's ultimately what it's about, isn't it? It's about creating their environment to help us connect with that sacred space within. Is that what you would say?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, at the deepest level, you're right. The sacred space we're creating is actually inside ourselves. So it's kind of, yes, we can create it out here. What we want is to connect to it more in here. So no matter where we are in the world, we're always connected to a sacred space, which is us, like you and me and whoever else in their space. So it emanates from here outwards. And you know when you're in the presence of someone who's connected to that, because you just feel quiet, and it makes you feel really nurtured and just very relaxed and calm, and you just be yourself. Like there's no effort. It's just very gentle and beautiful and light. So
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because often, especially in this day and age, it's the very rare person that has that sense of quietness or serenity.
yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
So let's put that out there so people can look for that and work towards that for themselves.
Yeah, and the thing, I remember teaching some meditation, just stillness meditation, just these little evenings, a while back, when, and just sometimes it was just 6 people, sometimes it was 15, and one man said to me, he goes, "Oh, my mind's really busy, and I just can't get there. I just can't connect." And I said, "That's okay. Just be patient. That's a good thing. All your thoughts are coming out." And so we went through a little visualization, and then he said, "Oh, I think I had a moment there where I had where it was really quiet." And I said, "Well, that's great, because with that one little moment, you know that you have that space inside you, and then you can always reconnect to it and allow it to grow and grow and grow. And, so it's there. It's just a matter of connecting to it and, building it and allowing it out."
Yeah, with nurturing and consistency.
Exactly, yeah, and patience.
Always that word, patience. Well, I do want to share with people that you're a contributor to In Spirit magazine, and have been for a little while now. And we often have, some shamanic contributions from you. You contribute about shamanism and all sorts of things. So please, if anyone would like to see some of Laura's work, then you can see some of her writings in Spirit magazine. And where else can people connect with you, Laura?
Well, you can go to my website, which is www.laura-naomi.com. Or if you're in Australia, you can call 1300 887 581. Or go to my website, and there's some emailing information there as well.
Wonderful. And In Spirit magazine is presenting our first Soul Smile retreat coming up in September of this year. And Laura is graciously going to be one of our presenters, and you're presenting a session on sacred theatre. So could you tell us a little bit about that and what people can expect from that session?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Kerrie. So sacred theatre is, it's a very ancient modality, if you like, in societies or communities, and it's often associated with ceremony or ritual. So I mean, the purpose of sacred theatre can be different from one community to the next. So, but there are common themes, and it's usually around ritual or ceremony. So, throughout my own experiences, it's always been connected to healing of some form. So, through movement or symbolism or storytelling, dance, music. So it's kind of all of those things are involved in sacred theatre. And you're creating this really healing space through all of these modalities of movement and music, etc. So it's, in my mind, it's a way to support a community, spiritual support and healing. So if it's just through sacred movement, you're telling a story through movement that will help the community in some way, because you're embodying an energy of spirit. So, and you're allowing that energy to come through to be transformed into the community for healing, or for storytelling, or that type of thing. So it's a very powerful form of healing. And a lot of it is people are dressed in ceremonial outfits and masks and feathers and all sorts of beautiful things. So sometimes scary things, but it's a very beautiful experience to be a part of or to watch.
Okay, and so I think when I read the bio for your talk and lecture, that it's going to be really hands-on, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to having us move around. You're going to, give us that sense of movement, even have us dancing and so forth, aren't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd like to pick a few people from the audience to be part of the ceremony, and I'll do some examples, and also get some people in to experience what that's like, as well as the audience watching and what it feels like, and how the space is transformed with different energy.
Oh, wonderful! That's very exciting. I can't wait to be part of that and see how that day unfolds.
Yeah.
So just again, lastly, people can contact you at laura-naomi.com.
Yeah.
And and to find out all about space clearing and everything that we've spoken about today. So I certainly want to thank you for coming along and being my guest on Soul Conversations today.
Thank you, Kerrie. It's been a pleasure.